one day while driving to the makerspace, I was like, what if that thing was held by a leaf shape? And it was just like a simple idea, and I went in, I drew it on the I made a vector file. Just instantly there was like some scrap wood lying around. I just prototyped it, brought it home, put it in my plan, took a picture, put it on Instagram. And the minute I did that, like a lot of people were like, where did you get that from? And the next thing I know, I was making it for a friend, and then another friend, and a friend, and somebody told me, yeah, you need to start an Etsy store. And then, yeah, so that's how TreLeaf started.
Welcome back to Building the Burbs. My name is Howard. I do not have a co-host today, but I have a very special guest with me, Zeba with TreLeaf. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell the audience a little bit about TreLeaf, and then we can get started.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Zeba Parkar. I'm the founder and creator behind TreLeaf. TreLeaf is a brand that specializes in houseplant accessories. We create functional pieces that support your plant and also turn them into pieces of art, so you can decorate your whole house with houseplants.
Okay. And so I know you have a lot of houseplants, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, the last time I counted them, I had over 160 houseplants. Although, like, not all of them are
Goodness.
like big trees or
Yeah.
stuff like that. I have a lot of small succulents, and then
Mm-hmm.
bigger trees, and more of the medium size plants. But yeah, it's one of those hobbies that once you get into it, it's a slippery
Yeah.
slope. So like you have
Just keep going.
yeah, you just keep on getting
Yeah.
more. But yeah, I mean, I just love houseplants because they bring that greenery inside your home,
Mm-hmm.
and they're also challenging from the perspective of like you feel accomplished when you figure out like the care of certain kind of plants and how
Yeah.
to make them thrive in your environment. And so it's also like the scientist in me also loves it, because it's like I'm experimenting all the time and figuring out what
Yeah,
works and what doesn't work for them.
for sure. So were you always like a plant enthusiast as far as like kind of like your childhood and stuff? Like, where did that start?
Uh, Probably no. I mean, in the child, like I grew up in a city, so like we did not have. I
Yeah.
mean, my mom had a small balcony garden, but
Okay.
nothing major. But I always liked nature and greenery. And then I think when I was in graduate school, that's when the house plant craziness started.
Okay.
And then when I got my first job and my first apartment, that's when I started collecting plants. And I mean, it took me a while to figure out how to take care of them, but I've always had plants inside the house. And yeah, I mean, I've always wanted, like, I feel like there needs to be greenery in every area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a PhD
Yeah.
in material science and engineering. Um, Kind of talk a bit about like what led you to that journey, and how did it get you into where we're at today?
Yeah. uh yeah, so I mean, I have, like, as a kid, I've always loved science.
Okay.
I've loved, I love the fact that you can, once you understand science, you can explain things, and you can come solve problems with
Yeah,
that, right? So
for sure.
I knew, like, growing up, that I wanted to get into like science and engineering. And initially, I mean, I always like I've read about like inventors, and I wanted to be an inventor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what
Yeah.
I wanted to be. But like, my dad was a professor, so I mean, I wanted to get into academia, and the only way you can get into academia is like you have to get a PhD,
Mm.
right? So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of, that was the path I was following. I was like, okay, I will. I want to become a professor,
Yeah.
at a university, because I that's what I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
um, I um I chose material science because um, I mean, I got a little bit into polymers in when I was in undergrad, and I just loved the fact that they're such versatile materials, and
Mm-hmm.
you can use them for daily household things to like making an airplane part. And so they're everywhere, so I was like, this is pretty broad and I can go anywhere with this. So started with material science and engineering, uh, and went to school for that. And while I was doing my PhD, uh, I changed my mind and I was like, okay, I don't want to get into academia because it did not look like it would be a good fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And decided I wanted to do more applied research, or wanted to work in the industry. So um, decided to get a industrial job. So like I went in and worked in the industry for 7 years. I was a research scientist, and even when I was, I love my job there.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing that the fascinating thing that I learned there, or at least I got my hands on, was 3D printing, or just like digital
Yeah.
manufacturing. That was, I had read about it, but I had never actually used a 3D printer before
Yeah.
that. And I was just fascinated by the fact that you can just make a digital
Yeah.
file
Yeah.
and just say print, and it you can
That's
just
hot.
like
Yeah.
make it physically, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that I was just like, and I wanted to do something in that arena. But I always had this entrepreneurial itch. Even in
Mm.
grad school, I tried to start a few businesses,
Yeah.
which did not go anywhere. And while I was working, I was like, okay, maybe like this is the time for me to try it out and see what we need to do. So at some point, there was a transition, and I decided that I'm going to just take a sabbatical. And we decided to move south to Atlanta, I think, which was a great decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first year and a half, kind of was trying to figure out what my next career move would be in terms of like what business I would be starting with.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was doing that, we basically moved to this area. And I started just immersing myself in so I was doing a lot of different small things. So I was consulting. I become part of this makerspace,
Okay.
which is in Marietta, just 10 minutes south of here.
Yeah.
Then I also used to teach at Kennesaw State
Oh,
in the
okay.
material science course. So like I was doing a lot of different things while I was figuring out what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I was prototype, like the makerspace was a way where I could go in, just like they had 3D printers and laser CNC machines that I could like whatever ideas I have, I can prototype them, like test them out. So I was doing all of that, and while doing that, you know, in parallel, like I was setting up the house,
Mm-hmm.
and getting house plans, and just like making them look good. And I had this one Monstera adansonii, which needed some support. So like it needed to grow up,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to like make it look nice and add a support to it. So I tried a bamboo stick, did not look very good. Then I tried to make a moss pole, failed miserably at it. And everything I tried, it looked bad. And I was looking for, how can I make this look good
Right.
while also supporting and letting it grow upwards. And one day while driving to the makerspace, I was like, what if that thing was held by a leaf shape? And
Mm.
it was just like a simple idea. And I went in, I drew it on the I made a vector file. Just instantly there was like some scrap wood lying around. I just prototyped it, brought it home, put it in my plant, took a picture, put it on Instagram. Like I used to have a plant
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
like most of these like most of the plant people have,
Yeah.
like just posting plant pictures. And the minute I did that, like a lot of people like, where did you get that from? And
Mm.
uh, the next thing I know, I was making it for a friend, and then another friend, and a friend of friend, and somebody told me, yeah, you need to start an Etsy store. And then yeah, so it was just like in those 2 months, I felt like I was in the makerspace. I was just buying wood and just cutting it and making more and more of this.
Yeah.
And uh, after that, decide like this was during like October, November time
Okay.
frame. So then we had, the Christmas break. And while that was happening, I thought about this and I'm like, okay, it looks like there's a business here. And I was trying to work on something else. And I'm like, okay, that business still hasn't taken off. I'm still prototyping. This one, it looks like there's something here. Maybe I need to like formalize it and actually go after it. So
Yeah.
that's how TreLeaf
Wow.
started.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
And this was like around the like COVID time, right?
Yeah, this is during COVID. So this
Okay.
is like in October of 2020.
Mm.
But formally, like, I formally started uh, using the word brand name TreLeaf in January 2021. But
Okay.
we were selling the product, in October, November. It was did not have a brand name. It was just like a trellis. Yeah.
So I mean, I assume like the validation was it was there.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's one of those things where, it's like the business started itself. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there was a market need. And, I just was trying to solve my own problem. And, it just happened that more people had the same problem and I could sell it to them.
So do you feel like with that kind of being the case, like it just made it so much easier to go like from starting a business and having clients, having customers versus trying to figure out, oh, how am I going to get customers and what's the best marketing like scheme for it? Or did you still do that even though like,
Yeah, I mean, so before this, I've had a number of businesses that have not succeeded. And
okay,
I've gone through that process of, like making a market. And when I saw this, I kind of knew that, okay, this is it. Like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
there
I
is
imagine.
definitely a market fit. And I feel like the other businesses that did not work, the reason why I could like get it up and running within like 2 weeks was because I knew like how to set up a store and how do I like
Yeah,
run create a listing. And like what do I do with SEO, like stuff like that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
all of that knowledge was there. It just like I could build on that and get to the right way. But still, I mean, I still needed to like fully understand, what the market is and how do I speak to this customer. And mostly we started as an e-commerce brand. So like it's mostly just online, right? So your listing is what
Yeah,
is doing all the selling for you.
yeah,
And then,
sure.
yeah, social media. So yeah, I mean, all of that, we were able to uh, at least the first product was correct. But then, after that we had to decide, the path of like what are the other products that we need to add and how are we going to serve this customer base.
And I guess I could imagine kind of just based on like the story. But what kind of inspired you for the name Truly?
Yeah, so I was just coming trying to come up with names for the
Yeah.
brand, right? And um like trellis is a structure that is used to support a plant, so that's
Okay.
the word trellis. And then our trellises are leaf shaped, so like trellis plus leaf.
Mm.
So TreLeaf was kind of a made up name. So I was looking for I mean, I wanted to make up a name because it's hard if you like
Yeah.
use generic terms. It's hard to get the domain or
Yep.
get trademarks.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just came up with a word that kind of is a compound word for those two words. Yeah.
And I mean, and I don't know, maybe it is like a niche that I'm just not aware of, but it just seems like you're kind of using art, um, like combined with like a need or care, right?
Yeah.
Um, is that something that you purposely did, or is that something that just kind of is just the way you design things, I guess?
Yeah, that's true. Like, so, I mean, I see TreLeaf as kind of at the intersection of like interior design and, uh, but yeah, I mean, I myself like art.
Okay.
I'm not like trained in art or anything.
Okay.
Like, I'm more of an engineer.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, I mean, our inspiration is always like plants themselves. So like, I want from the ethos of our like design philosophy, we want the designs to kind of complement the plant and
Okay.
not detract from it. Like we just want it to look organic.
For sure.
It look, I mean, looks like you're bringing a part of nature inside your house, and we want it to look like that a little bit. So yeah, basically all the designs are kind of inspired by plants themselves. But yes, we say that we want your plants to become pieces of art inside your house. So some of the designs are kind of designed so that they kind of look very
Yeah.
distinct and different than anything else in the market.
And you've mentioned kind of like inventing new things as time goes on. So like, what is that process like as far as the inspiration and okay, this is what we're gonna go with, and this is how we're gonna implement it.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of inventing, I think the first thing is always comes with like trying to solve a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it becomes much more easier if you make like, at least for a business, if you make something that people already want, then it's
Okay.
much easier to sell it,
Yeah.
rather than like you make something and then try to push it
Yeah.
in the market, right?
Try to force somebody to
Right,
like it. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, at least in TreLeaf, we start with a need. We are like, okay, people don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do our spin at it, and then we go and try to look at natural shapes, and how can we design it from the design perspective, how that can be done. And then of course materials, like what are we going to make it out of. Most of our stuff, at least the supports, are made out of wood, and that's because plants themselves in nature, some of these climbing plants, they actually are climbing trees,
Mm.
and they attach to them, and that's how they are thriving. So we are trying to mimic that, while you're trying to bring a plant inside your home. So that's why we chose wood. But then we also have, like, we just last year we added some products that are like saucers that go under the
Okay.
pot, and that, I mean, needs to be either like ceramic or plastic, right? And we went with plastic, but just figuring out what material we are going to use, what the form factor is going to be, and what kind of colors and all
Yeah.
of that. So we start with the problem. We do our design, use our design philosophy, design something, but then we are very scrappy because we are a small business
Yeah.
and we are a small team, so we don't delve on things too long. So it's like, okay, if we are like, okay, we think this will work, we will not shy away from like putting things in the market, just testing it out. And while we put it in the market, give it some time, hear what the customers are saying, both in reviews as well as we do surveys.
Mm-hmm.
We also look at data, like, I mean, if people are not paying for it,
Yeah.
if it's not selling, that's
Yeah.
also a data point, right? So we are looking at that very closely, and we try a lot of things. I would say 50% of the stuff we try doesn't work,
Okay.
and we just take it out, and we put something out new, right? But we are able to do that because we are also I mean, we are doing
Yeah.
digital manufacturing. So like, even the trellises are made using a CNC laser. So basically, we design it. It's subtractive manufacturing. It's not additive, but still, you are still designing it on a computer
Yeah.
and then just like cutting it. So we can very quickly translate designs, and just test it out. And then if it doesn't work, it's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can just pull that back. We just don't make a lot of, I mean, we are trying to be more efficient in terms of inventory, so we don't stock up too much inventory unless we know for sure it's gonna sell.
For sure.
So yeah, so that's kind of like a combination of being thrifty
Yeah.
in terms of manufacturing, listening to our customers, while also listening to our customers, while also just keeping an eye out for like what are the pain points that people have and trying to solve them.
And I guess like what has been some of your like personal favorite products that you guys have invented?
Yeah, so I mean, I think my personal favorite product, and I think it's even the market's favorite product,
Okay.
is we have a product called Zella.
Okay.
So it's a buildable cedar plank. So we use cedar and it's you can actually make it taller, so it's almost like Legos. So your plant is small, you start with like a small piece, and then once it starts growing, you just like attach some attachments to it, and then add another extension and add another extension. You can
Mm.
make it tall, you can make it wide. So it's very popular. It's a very simple design, but we have made it. Uh, it took us a long time to like get to the design we are at right now.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of like, I mean, people don't see the
Yeah.
behind the scenes, but because we work with wood, for example, the specification in terms of like thicknesses, it's not like if I buy, like plastic, I can like very, very specify the thickness to the micron level.
Yeah.
Whereas, with wood, it's very, you get different grades of wood. Every batch is different, and being able to design around that is a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
more
I can
of an
imagine.
engineering challenge.
Yeah.
So simple things like that took us time, but I think it's one of our best selling products, and it's also one of my favorites because it's very functional. It's like, you don't have to start with a big thing. You
Yeah.
can start small, and you can make it grow as your plant grows.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick short break, and then we'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by Hatchbridge Incubator. Hatchbridge Incubator is a partnership between Kennesaw State University and the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. We offer entrepreneurs the programs, the support, and the accountability that they need to build their businesses. We have programs and we have facilities for them to use. So our new facility will launch off of Chastain Road in the summer of 2025. We'll have 9 private offices for companies. We'll also have dedicated hot desk space for them to work at, and we'll have an event facility there as well. Learn more at hatchbridge.com.
All right, guys, we are back. So I guess what's next for TreLeaf?
Uh, what's next? Okay, so I think the we have kind of built a very good foundation for TreLeaf. We have in the last few years we have set up manufacturing. We have a warehouse that runs all our that does all the production. I think the next step for us is trying to scale that. So be able to increase our volumes, become more efficient, become more profitable. So all the more boring things say when it comes to from a like for a creator, I guess, standpoint, creative standpoint. But I think from a business standpoint, very important things to look at. The other thing that we are looking at is how can, like, what other verticals can we get into, and we want to lean more into the manufacturing because we are good at it. But then also, like, how can we serve the same customer better, and
For
what
sure.
else can we, what other problems can we solve? So of course we're always going to innovate and come up with new things, but yeah, this year is all going to be figuring out how to scale this and how to make it a more robust business.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, and from my understanding, right, TreLeaf is pretty like eco-friendly.
Yeah.
So I guess has there ever been a struggle as far as maintaining that eco-friendliness, while also trying to just meet demands of customers?
um So far, no.
Okay.
We have been able to like find good suppliers that meet our standards in terms of raw materials. We are. I think one of the eco-friendly things that we do is we don't like we try to reduce our waste quite a bit. So I mean, even in additive manufacturing, is a very low waste process, and then with lasers, even when we have like we have quite, while we make stuff, we have something called as B stock, where if there are any issues with the wood, or while we are processing stuff, we tend to not we don't throw it away. We just sell it at a much on a sale, and people love it because it's like they get they get to use some of our products, at a low cost, and then it's a win-win for everyone because we are
Yeah.
reducing our waste and while also helping others. So I mean, so far no,
Okay.
but I hope we can keep it that
Yeah,
way.
for sure, for sure. Um, so talk a bit about the plant parent community. What is that about?
Yeah, I mean, I love the plant parent community. I feel like people, like, it's very similar to the pet community, or like, uh, different niches that you're seeing. So like people who love plants, they love nature in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that makes them much more caring and much more,
Absolutely.
and that has I feel like that's why TreLeaf has been so successful, even without not having like big marketing budgets, or um, because I feel like the plant community has been very supportive towards us.
That's
They have
awesome.
been, for example, like when we were new, there were enough people that were ready to just like uh, post about us without having us to pay them anything,
Wow.
big influencers. And even now, like we have a good network of plant parents that we work with, and that are always supportive. We have a lot of word of mouth that helps us grow. So yeah, I mean, I love the plant community. I feel like I would like to stay in this niche if I
Yeah,
can,
absolutely.
and not get out of it, for sure.
I guess, if you had to kind of reason it, like, why do you think that this community is so like welcoming and, like supportive versus like there are other niches where it's just kind of real, like
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta fight your way in, you know what I mean? So, um, I guess why do you think that is?
uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, because I don't want to name like niches that are not so good. But yeah, before this, I was not in a very nice niche.
Okay.
And yeah, this niche, I feel like it's very, uh, it's very diverse in terms of like age groups, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like kind of people. And it's one thing, like plants bond us, right? So like if we do a lot of trade shows, and I've been to a lot of trade shows, and I'm kind of an outsider. Like some of these other people are like in
Yeah,
this industry for like 20, 30 years, but like every single one would be like, if I go and talk to them and I ask them, okay, what should I be doing, they'll be upfront about like feedback. They'll be helpful.
that's
They'll
awesome.
connect me to the right person. So I feel like, yeah, the community is very, it's a small community, but it's a tight knit and a nice, very nice niche. Yeah.
And so with TreeLeaf, kind of, well, not kind of, with TreeLeaf being an e-commerce brand, um, like, have you had to sell like e-commerce before, or was this like a first time thing?
Yeah, no. Before this, I ran an e-commerce brand, so
Okay.
I kind of knew what it entails. But I mean, TreLeaf right now, we started out as an e-commerce brand. We also now sell through stores, so like we are in a
Oh,
number of
okay.
retail stores also. So we have two different. I mean, it's the same business, it's the same product, but the way you sell to a store is very different
Yeah,
than you
for
sell
sure.
online. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good, having different like for us it has been really useful to have different channels, because a lot of people don't buy plants online, right? Like
Yeah,
they go to a store and buy one, and when you go to a store, if you have our products beside a plant, then you're very likely to pick it up. So
absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, it has been a very good channel for us too.
So talk a little bit about that kind of like process of transitioning from e-commerce to, well, you still do e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
But adding on the in stores, like how did you kind of build those relationships with the stores? Like how did the consumers kind of take it? Like what was that process like?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that we started with is we started going to trade shows.
Okay.
So there are these trade shows that are specific to where people are like store owners are coming and they are buying. buying stuff for their stores. And there is one that happens actually in Atlanta,
Okay.
which is called the Atlanta Market, which is the biggest gift market in the United States.
Okay.
And so that consumer is basically anybody who has a gift shop will come, and we sell through gift shops. So we that was our first show that we did. So you just get a booth, you show your product, and customers come by. You are trying to sell, so you give them information about what you're selling, and
Yeah.
then if they think it's a good fit, they'll buy. If they don't, they will not. Right. So that's how. But that's a very very efficient way of just getting in front of
Yeah.
thousands of
For sure.
stores. And so in the last 3 years, we've done like a lot of trade shows.
Okay.
So I mean, every niche you can think of, there's a trade show for it. So
yeah,
like
that's
there's a
true.
trade show for tropical plants. There's a trade show for like
Yeah.
outdoor plants. Like
Yeah.
whatever you wanted. So we have tried to like we have tried a number of different ones, and we know which ones now work for us versus don't. But that the trade shows have helped us in getting into stores. We also work with distributors now, so distributors also work with stores and help distribute our products.
Okay. So have you had any kind of like customer experiences or like testimonials you could say, where a customer was like really raved about the product and um how the impact it's had?
Yeah. So I mean, our our products are eh, people love our products because it's not just it's not just like it helps your plant,
Mm-hmm.
it helps it thrive, but it also brings a lot of joy
Yeah,
in your
I can
home.
imagine. Yeah.
And we have one product line which is kind of we sell it as it's called Bear. And the reason why it's called Bear is we don't put a finish on the wooden part.
Okay.
And that means people can actually like paint, so they can be a little bit more artistic and show off their skills
Yeah.
and just customize the trellis that they have before they put it on the plant. And I had like one customer who messaged me and said like she bought maybe 10 of these. And she said that she used that as as in her bridal shower,
Oh,
where
wow.
everybody
Yeah.
sat down and did that. And there were there are other people who do it as a family activity where like they're coming. So it's kind of also not just it's not just a product, it's also like building a community, like bringing people closer. So I mean that makes me super happy that it's
Yeah.
like also having a more than just a thing that you put in your plant. You're actually like connecting with other people and building community around it.
For
So
sure. Sure.
yeah.
Um, so I know I asked like what's next.
Mm-hmm.
But looking a little bit further than that, right? Like 5 years, 10 years, what are you kind of your visions for TreLeaf?
Yeah, I mean, I for TreLeaf, what we want to be the go-to brand for people who are houseplant owners. So we want you. The plan is to be able to serve the customer and help them bring more greenery inside and whatever that entails. Um, we have a product. I mean, we have a product pipeline for the next few years, but
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm taking it by the day. Like it's gonna be. I'm just very optimistic. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah.
um. Okay. I guess, do you have anything that you like to tell the audience as far as like where they can find you and where they can connect with you?
Yeah. So make sure to check us out on our website. We are TreLeaf, TRELEAF.shop. And then you can find us on all social media channels as TreLeaf or Shop TreLeaf. So you can search that and you should be able to find us there. And we also sell on Amazon and Etsy.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Zeba,
Thank you. Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.